So atmos and effects. Atmospheres, you can think of the atmospheres as the canvas on which you're going to paint the rest of the sound picture. God, that's a wonderful phrase. But it is. It's everything in the background. So if we just were quiet now, it's not a great atmosphere in this room. It's mostly, well, it was rain on the roof earlier, but it's mostly the fan from the projector. But that's your base layer of atmosphere. So we would add to that things going on around us to give us a sense of geographical place. So we would put some traffic outside, we'd put some student hubbub outside. So we know that we're in a place that's busy, bustling, and there are loads of people. What you don't want in an atmosphere is lots of punctuating sounds like sudden loud birdsong or sudden shouting outside. Bland is actually good for atmospheres. You want it to fill your audio stage, whatever that audio stage is, be it stereo, surround, atmos. You want atmospheres that are going to put you, the listener, the viewer, in the place, sense of geography. Effects are where the character comes in. You choose your effects very carefully. And this is where, as Andrew said, it's not about the right sound, it's the sound that sounds right. Because we can't always get the right sound for some of the things that we're seeing in the image. You know, somebody, as we said earlier, getting their arm broken or their head chopped off, or as I once did in Casualty, somebody getting their nose broken with a headbutt. We put some great celery crunch on that, and then it got sent back by the channel because it was too violent. I didn't shoot the scene. I didn't shoot you headbutting somebody, you know. I just put the sound of the nose breaking, but that was what made it violent. So we had to calm it down and just put a thump on, no crunch of celery, and suddenly the violence was taken out. Still the same shots, still saw somebody getting headbutted, but I'd gone and made it too violent. Okay. Also got a Radio 4 radio play sent back because it was too much sex. It was an actress and myself bouncing up and down on a bed, meant to be having sex upstairs. And we couldn't do it without laughing a lot because it was very funny. But then I mixed it in a bit loud and got sent back because it was, you know, not quite what they wanted for Radio 4 at that time of day. Oh well, never mind. It was all part of the narrative as far as I was concerned. I mean, the headbutt, if that had been a movie, that would have been 40 foot tall, you know, and the crunch would have, anyway, yeah. It was all right leaving me, I reckon. What you want from effects, when you're out there recording effects, you don't need to always get your effects from libraries. You can go out and record. In the pandemic, I was recording quite a lot of my own sound effects for some short radio dramas we were doing. The neighbours got used to seeing me running up and down the drive, recording, running away, jumping off step ladders, and they thought I was a little mad, but you know, they realised that it was me working. Clean recordings with as clean a background as possible. Like Michaela was saying, use directional mics, use them nice and close to what you're recording. Sometimes you need a bit of perspective, perhaps. But recording your own sounds, do record them because you can get them to sound how you want. You don't have to put up with something from a library that isn't quite right. And also, if you're going to record one sound, like a car door slamming, record it from several different perspectives. Then you'll have it in your own library for future use. Who's thinking of going into sound editing or sound mixing in here? Quite a few, right. So it's never too early to start building up your own sound library. And you wouldn't believe how often I've recorded a sound and thought, I'm probably never going to use that. And then about 2 years down the line, you thought, I've got the perfect sound for that somewhere. And this is where, if you do record, make sure you label it properly. So I did a load of recording in a stream in Devon, and I've labelled it wet, splash, stream, water, all those things you might search for that are going to come up. So do start your library, start recording, I record most of mine at 48 kilohertz. Who records stuff at 44.1? You music types. Are you still on 44.1 with your... Get away from 44.1. Throw it in the bin. I spit on your 44.1. I spit on your MP3s. Oh my God, don't ever. Try recording at 48. And the reason is you can always sample rate convert your mix at the end down to 44.1. But if you start processing anything with any plugins, things break up so much quicker at 44.1 than they do at 48. And, you know, if you're going to do really serious stuff and do lots of processing, go to 96, you know. Really, really go for the higher sample rates if you're going to process stuff. Sound design, hang on, has Andrew left his soapbox? Let me see if I can get on it. Because I have the same problem with the term sound designer. It's the most misused term in the sound industry. Sound designers, I have a slightly different view to Andrew. Yes, they get on board right at the start, but in that Monsters Inc., I would say the person doing the creature sound effects was a sound designer. They were designing, they'd taken some sounds and they'd changed them beyond all recognition with processing. And that, to me, is also a part of sound design. So if you really want to piss off the professionals of my age, call yourself a sound designer as soon as you go out. You know, no, don't do that. Just say you're an aspiring sound professional. That always gives you a bit of humility, and you know, we like that. Because I don't know everything. Andrew doesn't know everything. You never stop learning through your whole career. So when somebody comes in to sit in with you who's new and young, what you want to see is enthusiasm, inquiring mind, but not somebody who thinks they know it all straight away. And I know you lot wouldn't do that, because otherwise you wouldn't be here finding out. Sometimes the mundane sound effects are the most useful. So the opening of an umbrella, recording, you know, sound of rain on an umbrella. Some of the more mundane sound effects are the ones you really want to go to. And the sound effects you really want to record are crowds. Trying to find good crowd recordings that fit the image that you've got is really difficult. We are very perceptive about guessing how large a crowd is from what we hear and what we look at. And if you play 30 people when you can only see 12, it doesn't quite work. So recording of crowds and crowds in different countries sound completely different. There's a great pub near where I live in Portishead called the Black Horse at Clapton in Gordano. It's a very old 17th century pub which has inglenook fireplaces, hard floors, stone floors. And lunchtime, there's a group of tree cutters that get in, tree surgeons that get in there. And I surreptitiously recorded in the corner because it's great for a costume drama. It's not a mixed group of people. They've got proper West Country accents and they're talking quietly. You can't hear any individual voices, and it's in an atmosphere that sounds like a 17th century pub, because that's exactly what it is.